Hey, good morning, everybody. Here we are. We are live Thursday morning live. Welcome. Glad that you're here today. Big show today. I'm really excited about my guest this morning, Jim Biggs from the GOB Network. But before we get to Jim, let's talk about you. Let's talk about your intentions. I want to know what you're thinking about this morning, what you want to accomplish, and how you're going to get things done. If you sat down this morning, what about your daily disciplines? Did you have a chance to go through those today? And did you get your day started off correctly? Started off right? I had a conversation this week with somebody about success. And really the conversation was really based around, success kind of being the best revenge, right? And the comment I made about that, though, was that success is defined by each of us differently. It doesn't necessarily need to be money. What about if it was family? What if it was about relationships? Define your success. And once you define your success, then you can intentionally go out there and try to achieve it, right? I want to just let you know that we're here every Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. This is Thursday Morning Live. I always try to bring a local Chicago area guest. Doesn't always work out that way, but we try to do the best we can. Chicago area entrepreneur, real estate professional. So make sure that you see us on LinkedIn Live. You'll find us on Facebook Live, and you'll find us on My Core Intentions YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe, follow us, like us on social media, and we'll continually bring you great content every week. All right, let me bring our guest in this morning, Jim Biggs from the GOB Network. Jim, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How are you this morning?
I'm excited about you being here. That's how I am. How are you?
I am peachy keen as always. Thank you for asking.
Awesome. Hey, listen, Jim, one thing I always like to do when I bring guests on the show is I want to know what's that one word that sets you apart or best describes you personally or professionally?
Well, the word that I want to use is a go-giver, but I do feel that's a little presumptuous to give yourself that name, but that's what I try to live up to.
So a go-giver. I think you and I have had this conversation before, but what does that really mean to you?
It means giving more than you receive, or at least in equal value. I think all of us like to believe that we are go-givers. I know I have my whole life, but until you're backed into a corner and you're asked to do something you're uncomfortable doing, I think that's when you really find out how much of a go-giver you really are. Not all of us can live a monastic life, as an example. And if we could, then that would maybe be the ultimate giving back or go-giver. But all of us can do something. And I think as long as we're intentionally, to borrow some of your language, as long as we're intentional about that and trying to give back to a community that's helping us. So like your community at My Core Intentions and our community at the GOB Network, that's one of the key mission statements, and one of the costs to be a member is we ask everyone to pledge to be a go-giver and to give back.
That's awesome, Jim. And so now that you brought that up, let's jump right in. What is the GOB Network? What's it all about? Tell us how you founded it and how it came to be.
Well, I'm officially supposed to be in my second retirement. I've retired twice, and it looks like I'm going to have to retire a third time, but maybe I never get to retire from this one. We had a couple of years ago a really big, what does Rod Cleef call it, seminar, a really, really big seminar, bigger than most people will ever have in their life. And it caused me to really just suddenly put the brakes on and stop what I was doing and say, okay, I'm retired. And I had to do that for my wife's sanity. But when I did it, I needed to lick my wounds a little bit. And I flew to Hawaii because my son had moved out there a couple of years ago. And my grandson was there. And I just needed all that free grandpa love to get my head back on. And I let my guard down. I truly, for the first time in my life, had no ambition for anything, no intention for anything. I just wanted to reflect on my life and get my head screwed on right so that I could go back home and be the kind of husband that I needed to be. And in um, a moment of reflection, possibly, and meditation, or just age, and the wisdom they say that comes from age, or I think maybe a combination of all those, and taking the blinders off. We have this ambition, and we put blinders on, and we can only see our mission. We can only see where we want to go, and it blinds us to a lot of other things that are going on around us, and a lot of things that might be bothering us. And there's a lot of things about the real estate educational platforms and industry that have bothered me for 40 years. I've been a very active participant in a lot of coaching programs over the last 40 years, and I've gained a tremendous amount from personal coaching. But there's always been things that, in the vernacular of the South where I come from, a burr under my saddle, or something that was stuck in my craw, so to speak, that bothered me. But I was so intently focused on what I wanted to do that I never allowed myself to think about what those things were and how they might be different. And when I did, I came up with this concept of the GOB Network, and I came up with the concept that that I thought, if I had all the money I had invested over the last 40 years in my hands right now, I could go out and buy a very large apartment complex by myself with no other investors. And when I thought about that, I thought, well, most people, whether it's their fault or whether it's some extraneous reason, most people that enter coaching programs do not exit coaching programs with the level of success that they anticipated when they went in. And there can be a multitude of reasons for that. It can be their fault. It can be market circumstances. It can be bad decisions. But it also can be the coaches. And I felt if there was one thing that I would change, it would be I wish I had my money in that apartment. And the reason for that is I believe that the investment will always teach you more than anything else that you can do. And if you only had 50 grand to invest and you had a choice, two choices, door A, door B. Door A is hire me to teach you how to do this. Door B is actually invest in the asset. I would always choose to invest in the asset. I would advise all of the people that have ever considered me a mentor, a coach, or a friend to invest in the asset. And so that was the idea, was let's make the educational component, the tools and the resources, a nonprofit, and let's beta test that. We'll offer it for free to as many people that want to take us up on it, and see if it works. And it's been roughly 18 months. We're right now at 1,000 members, so I believe it's working. I hope it's working. We have some really, really big plans, and we're very, very hopeful that we are going to build some partnerships with folks like Michael, because we really believe that his core mission and our core mission are very similar. And so we want to build a platform that is around for for the rest of eternity. We've got 40-year goals, and we're trying to hit them. So, long answer to a short question.
Yeah, but you know what? It's a great answer, right? And I agree with so much of what you said. Hey, listen, personally, I've been coached for 20 years, right? I've always had a coach in my business, and I can equate coaching to being 20% of my business growth every year, year after year. And the reason for that part is, I don't think a coach ever taught me anything new. I always got that from the books and the trainings and the seminars and those things, right? But here's what my coach did for me. They stretched me. They pushed me outside of my box, outside of my comfort zone. And I find a lot of people that getting outside of that comfort zone can be difficult for them. And it comes down to the accountability. So like with my coaching clients, what I do is we work on a task. And once we get that task, where they have a little bit more clarity in it, and they understand why it's important to their accomplishment, now I'll give them an assignment. And here's the thing that I hated. I would get an assignment from my coach, and if I came back the next week and I didn't complete my assignment, I hated to have to tell my coach. It's the accountability. So my clients, I give them that assignment, they come back the next week, and now we've grown a little bit. Jim, they say that if you grow 1% a day, that by the end of the year, you look back, you've grown 365%. And I really equate that to, that accountability inside of coaching. Hey, I would like anybody who's out there this morning, throw a comment in the chat. Let us know what you're thinking about, what your thoughts are. Say hi to Jim this morning. If you're from Chicago, let us know. If you're on it, let us know where you're from. I think that we have some good conversation here. I like the fact, Jim, that this is a nonprofit, right? And it's just enough to carry the costs. You also support a mission outside of the real estate arena with the nonprofit, don't you?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things that we're interested in, but the biggest one that's in our vision and mission statement at the GOB is that we want to bring financial literacy to underserved communities. That's our biggest mission, and that means a lot of different things. Some people think that means we're only interested in trying to help poor folks. That's not true. The middle class is it's like the dinosaur. I think it's headed toward extinction, and people that grow up even in upper middle class oftentimes do not have very good financial literacy, and they're forced to work paycheck to paycheck. They can only get as far as their labor will take them. They don't know how to make their money work. And so consequently, there's usually only one person earning money, and that's you. And your money should be working equally as hard as you do, and preferably harder than you do. And it should be working 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. It should not get breaks. It should not get vacation. And unfortunately, most people's money is very, very lazy.
Let's talk about that. If we put that in another term or another context, some of that can really be the passive real estate investing, where everybody's traditionally stuck in that stock market. I did a post on social media yesterday that showed the stock market returns for every one of the platforms out there, including this new crypto, and all the arrows were down. Yeah. And the comment I made was, hey, how much longer are you going to do this? How much longer do you want your money doing this when you can have an alternative investment in real estate? You don't have to take care of the tenants' trash or toilets, but you can invest passively. And I love that about the financial literacy and the financial education piece.
Yeah, I love what you just said about making posts at this particular time. And any time that the stock market has down arrows, or the favorite, everyone's favorite darling right now, crypto, people have lost massive amounts of their crypto value. And I'll remind them that I haven't had a single rent check that has gone down, that rent checks just remain the same or continue to go up, even in very bad markets. In the last recession, which was the closest thing we've had in this country to a depression, the rent checks kept showing up in the mailbox and they never went down. I never had to lower rents. Now, the value of the property, because a lot of my single family properties lost a lot of value, but it was only a paper loss. None of the rents went down. None of them went uncollected. And even now, real estate values, especially in multifamily, continue to rise as the stock market crashes, and rents continue to rise as the stock market crashes. And if this is the beginning of a black swan event, which it very well may be, and if it is, the absolute best risk-adjusted place you can go is into real estate. Now, if you love crypto and you love a lot of the other stocks that are out there, wait to find the bottom. Wait till they start to rebound, 10%. And if you do that, you're not going to buy at the very bottom, but you'll be buying on the way back up. And it's a lot better to buy on the way back up than it is to buy on the way down.
You think we're going to see a housing collapse?
We very well could. There's a lot of things in play that are very different from the 2008, 9, 10 crash. I think the banks have been a lot more intentional about lending money, but there's a lot of alternative lending that's been going on, especially in commercial space.
Mm.
And anyone that has a short-term loan, anyone that has an adjustable rate loan could be in trouble, because really that's what happened in the last crash. Was loans came due and the banks didn't want to refinance them, or rates were adjusted pretty drastically and people were able to afford that rate at the beginning and they were not able to afford the rate as it went up. And that's how everyone started to lose property. So you could get a no doc loan, no income verification loan to buy a house back then. You can't do that so easily now. But
Right.
in multifamily, there is a lot of CMBS loans. Since COVID, the agency lenders, Fannie and Freddie, have made very few loans. There's very few long-term loans out there. And most everyone has been taking out shorter term loans, 7 years, 5 years, even 3 and 2 years. And if we suddenly have a major correction and the banks decide, look, I don't want this asset anymore on my balance sheet, then there's going to be a lot of people in trouble.
You know, what's interesting is one of the things, you know, and I had $60 million worth of real estate at one point, all multifamily, and it was all high leverage, right? I had 85% LTV on it, which really just doesn't make sense. I don't advise anybody today to be anywhere out of pocket between 65 and 75%, because you need that equity piece in there in case occupancies drop, in case NOI goes out. So I think people need to be more conservative. I saw banks today, that are offering commercial multifamily loans at 85, 90% LTV. And I'm like, geez, this is just crazy money.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. That's interesting because I've actually been looking for it.
Yeah.
But I know that Mike and I, one of the things I love about talking to you is that we bring a lot of different insights, and sometimes they can seem in contrast to each other and be opposite. But in reality, the more you and I talk and the deeper we dig into it, I think that there's a lot of commonalities. We're just taking a different tact, to try to win the game. And there are, I do believe you need to be conservative, but I also believe that there's certain opportunities. I don't mind a high leverage loan if it's a long-term loan, particularly something like HUD or USDA, where it's backed by the government and it's a fixed rate. It's not going to go up. You know what the debt is, and you can build around that. And if you're a long-term investor and you don't need to get out in 2 to 5 years, then you just need to weather the storm. So the most important factor to me becomes the DSCR. And how low can occupancy go where you still can make your nut and pay the mortgage? And that's the most important part to me, because I think if you're buying small and not getting out over your skis. So right now, we have that GOB Goya 90-day challenge, and one of the rules is you have to stay under $5 million. And we want smaller assets that we feel we have better control over. And I think there's still opportunity there. But if you get too excited and now you go after a different loan product, or suddenly now you run into a deal and it's so tempting, but it's 10 million, there's going to be a lot more challenges ahead of you.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Dan just had a comment up there that, inventory is so low that he's confident that real estate will be far more resilient in America than the trends in other classes would imply. And, Dan, there's a lot to be said for that. And here's what's interesting, Jim, and you just said it. You and I have different opinions. A lot of people have different opinions about this and what's going to happen. Here's my biggest concern. Once the media gets a hold of the word recession, or once the media gets a hold of collapse or something else, they'll be like a dog with a bone in its mouth and will not let it go.
Yeah.
And that's how all this stuff gets driven to the next level.
Yeah.
I know this, there's an awful lot of dry powder on the sidelines waiting to put money in the markets. And I think there's some people right now sitting back just kind of waiting. But I think that there's people like you and I that are still being aggressive.
Yeah, I spoke to a couple of different private equity shops this week and bringing deals to them that we have in front of us right now. And you know, of the three I spoke to last week, two of them are sitting on the sidelines. They were anxious 6 months ago to do some deals, and even at a few months ago at the NMHC, they were anxious to look at deals. And right now, today, they're both sitting on their hands. And so I think that's true. But I agree with Dan, and it's good to see you this morning, Dan. Dan Fredenberg, for anyone that doesn't know, you need to connect with him. He's a great guy in this space also. But I think that I think that people that are conservative will weather the storm. The good operators will weather the storm. It's amazing to me how many people are just barely getting by, breaking even over the last 5 years when the market's been going crazy. Rents have been going up and, you know, prices have been going up and they still can't make money. And so those people are going to be in trouble for sure.
Yeah, it's those mom and pop operators out there, and there's a lot of them that really just don't know the game, and they've kind of just nursed it along for years and years. And hey, Jim, let's do this. Let's start to talk about, you have a big conference coming up here in July 13th and 14th here in Chicago is the GOB Network conference. And how is that going? Tell people what that's going to be about. And I'm looking forward to being there. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's we are just so excited about this. This is going to be a conference for real estate investors held in Chicago at the best time of year to see and visit one of the greatest cities in the world. If you haven't been to Chicago in the summertime, it's absolutely the best time to visit. There's so many world-class museums and tourism, the Navy Pier, the Botanical Gardens, the Art Museum, the Hancock Tower, the Sears Tower, which people may not even realize what that is anymore. But Museum of Science and Industry, the Field Museum, there's just so many things to see and have fun. And we're intentionally holding the conference on a Wednesday and Thursday. And we're encouraging people to stay over through the weekend so that Uncle Sam will pay for their trip to be here. And also because you are attending a nonprofit conference, your tickets are 100% tax deductible. So, you know, that's another little side benefit to coming and visiting with us. But we're trying to make this very, very different. If you've ever been to a real estate conference, you know that what everyone wants to do is network. And you always see a ton of networking going on in the hallways and other rooms. And half of the people are networking, the other half may be newer, and they're in the room listening to the speakers, and the speakers are not getting the full attention of all of the attendees because they're really there to network, to find capital for their deals, or to find partners for their deals, or to find deals. Yeah. And so we have recognized that over the last few years, and we're being very, very intentional about building this network or this conference around networking. The number one thing about this conference is networking. The number two thing about the conference is deals and getting deals done. And we're going to try to do 40 deals within this conference network. We're going to try to put together 40 deals from people that are just attending the conference. And we're going to invite all the people that will help you get there. As an example, I think one of the biggest obstacles people think is finding capital. And I always harp on that's the most important piece of this, but it's really not the most important piece. The most important piece is the 6 inches between your ears. And so we're going to spend a lot of time and have speakers like Mike that are going to try to help people overcome that obstacle. And so your speakers are all going to be very intentionally speaking to you about things that will help you participate in one of these 40 deals, because we're going to ask everyone at the conference to be an active partner or a limited partner on these 40 deals. We want everyone that attends this conference, when they go back home, they can legitimately say, I am a real estate investor. I don't want to be one. I'm not trying to be one. I'm not studying to be one. I am a real estate investor. When they leave that conference, I want them to, every single one of the 600 attendees, to be a real estate investor.
So I want people to really grab hold of that number you just said, that we're expecting 600 people in Chicago for this 2-day event. I know I've got some friends from Texas that have bought tickets and have registered, and a couple buddies of mine from Detroit are coming out. So there's people from all over the country. A couple other friends from California that are going to be coming. So there's people from all over the country going to be at this. And a couple things that you've mentioned this morning is getting deals done, right? I think too, and I like that metric of being under $5 million, because there's a lot of money to be made in small multifamily.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and I'd like to remind everyone that Michael has a special discount code. And right now, if you're listening to this, you definitely need to go to Michael's website and get his discount code, because I'll tell you, it is a huge discount for anyone that's listening today. And Michael will continue to have a discount code up until the day of the event. But obviously, the price is going up every 100 tickets that we sell. Yeah. And so right now, for today, we'll offer you the lowest price that you can possibly get to be at the event. And I will remind everyone, there's going to be a virtual piece to this, and we're going to have special guests that are only going to be on the virtual. And we've got a lot of big names already committed to coming, and I think that you guys will be super excited about it.
Hey, let me just real quick, Ruby, hope you got that question answered, because how do I attend the GOB conference? Just go and register at GOB Network, use my last name, Morawski, and get a discount. Welcome. Thanks, Jim, for that and for allowing people to do that. But you're right, it is a huge discount. So, Jim, any big names you want to share that are going to be on the stage other than you?
Well, no, I'm going to be a side note on the stage. I really, there's so many more people that have so much to say. And honestly, the person I'm the most excited about is you, Mike. You have such a story of not only being a go-giver, but of how to overcome and how to get past fear and how to keep moving forward, even when you're presented with unbelievable obstacles. And for people that haven't heard your story, they're going to be in for a real treat. And, we're trying to find people that have those kind of stories to tell. But our keynote speaker is Luke Wren. And for everyone that hasn't heard Luke speak, he is just a dynamic speaker. He's one of the top coaches at Tony Robbins. And I think is, probably the right-hand guy as far as if Tony's sick, that's the guy they're going to ask to step in and do the speaking. And John Kasman is going to be speaking. We've got several local family offices from Chicago that people might not recognize, but we're going to be talking about how to find capital as you start to scale into bigger deals and what those family offices and private institutions are looking for. And we're going to have, I'm going to lose track of all the names. Neil Bawa is going to be speaking, and Bob Berg from the author of the Go Giver book is going to be speaking. We're going to have also Brian Briscoe speaking. So we've just got, the list is too long for me to remember off the top of my head.
And let's not let all the cats out of the bag right now.
Yeah, we're still adding names.
Yeah, let's leave a little surprise for people. So, hey, listen, Jim, this has been great this morning. I flashed your name back up there. People can contact you. Tell people how to get a hold of you if they want to connect directly with you.
So the easiest way, if you want to connect with me directly, is you can email me at jim@gobnetwork.com. Also can be reached via text. My personal mobile phone number is 715-301-0105. I will not answer if I don't recognize your name. So you need to leave a message. The best way is just to text me, hey, my name is Dan Fredenberg, need to talk, and I'll get back in touch with you.
Awesome. Hey, Jim, I'm going to move you out. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. You want to hang out with me in the back room for a minute?
Would love to, Mike.
Hey, I appreciate you being here this morning. Really appreciate your insight and your knowledge. You know, the one thing you said early on is that the wisdom that's come with the age, and you and I both have a lot of that. So
a lot of age.
Yeah. Well, no, I want to stay on the wisdom word. Let's keep, but
Thank
yeah,
you, Mike. It's a real pleasure. Always.
Appreciate you're here, man. So I'll be right there. Hey, everybody. That was my guest, Jim Biggs, this morning from the GOB Network. And I hope that you got a lot of insight about multifamily, where the market's going, and some information about the GOB Network. If you are not a member of the GOB Network, it's a free registration. Just go to gobnetwork.com, get registered for the organization. You'll continually get updates. But most importantly, get registered for the GOB Network Conference in July 13th and 14th in Chicago. It is a great city and a great place to be. If you haven't been here in the summertime, there's nothing like summer in the city. It's Wednesday and Thursday that week. Stay through the weekend. Make it all tax deductible for yourself, but enjoy yourself. Bring your family and enjoy the trip. Hey, listen, multifamily is really an interesting business right now. If you are looking to network, if you are looking to learn a little bit more, I am open to networking. Reach out, give me a call, direct email me. I'd love to connect with you and see how I can help you. I know Jim would love to do the same thing as well. So reach out to either one of us. I want to tell you this morning to enjoy your week. Enjoy the rest of it. Enjoy the upcoming weekend. Thanks for being here this morning.